Hi everyone, this is Jim with JP Reacts, where you come to learn from politicians what they mean when they say the things they do. So we go and we translate and we try to give some additional information about what Republicans do and what they mean when they say what they say. So today we're going to look at a video from Senate Democrats. It's going to be Senators Schumer, Senator Menendez, and Senator Klobuchar, and they had a press availability yesterday, the 1st of December, and we're going to go through and see what they talked about, what policies they're trying to push, and what other things they're trying to accomplish. So if you're looking forward to seeing that, just wait after this. Okay, so let's jump into the first comment made by Senator Schumer. Let's check that out right now.
What was immediately clear in our discussion is that President-elect Biden's foreign policy and national security team are exceptionally qualified, accomplished individuals with the expertise to protect our nation and advance American interests abroad.
Okay, so the first statement was about President-elect Biden's national security team. This has been a key point of emphasis when he first announced. So let's talk about who they are. So he appointed a bunch of top officials to there, including Secretary of State, Homeland Security Secretary, Department of National Intelligence, Ambassador to the United Nations, National Security Advisor, and Special Presidential Envoy on Climate. So President-elect Biden selected Anthony Blinken to be Secretary of State. He's known Biden for many years. He's been in national security policy areas for a while. He was Deputy Secretary, and he was also as a Deputy Secretary of State. And he's worked with Biden for over 15 years at this point. Avril Haines is President-elect Biden's pick for Director of National Intelligence. Avril is the first woman to serve in this role. She was CIA's Deputy Director from 2013 to 2015, and also was Deputy National Security Advisor, and she was also the first woman to hold those positions. The president-elect is nominating Alejandro Mayorkas to be Secretary of Homeland Security. He's the first immigrant and Latino secretary in the 18-year history of the Department of Homeland Security. Remember, Homeland Security was created after the September 11th attacks in 2001. Nomination for Alejandro Mayorkas. He was born in Havana. He left Cuba with his family in the 1960s after Fidel Castro took over the country. He also worked in President Obama's administration as Director of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Also, we have Linda Thomas Greenfield is President-elect Biden's choice to be UN ambassador, and President-elect is elevating her to a position on his cabinet. She's been working for the transition and decades of experience on the job. She was a foreign service officer who worked for the Reagan administration and also served as Director General of the Foreign Service. She's also was ambassador for Liberia and was Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs from 2013 to 2017. Appointed to National Security Advisor is Jake Sullivan. Sullivan has been advising Biden on domestic policy, but also has foreign policy experience. He served as National Security Advisor during President Barack Obama's second term under Vice President Biden, and was head of policy planning and Deputy Chief of Staff for Hillary Clinton when she was Secretary of State. President-elect Biden is also appointing former Secretary of State John Kerry to be the first special presidential envoy for climate change. Obviously, Secretary Kerry was previously a secretary. As Secretary of State, he also ran for president. He's been he was a senator for a long time. He's also heavily influenced in foreign affairs, and he's very passionate about climate change. So that's a new position that he's also also he's added to, because climate change is such a big deal for his presidency. So let's look at the next statement made by Senator Menendez, and we'll talk a little bit about that next.
Values around the globe. Today, I was on a panel with European parliamentarians, and the cry from all, and these are all people from the European Union, elected, different countries, different political beliefs and whatnot, but the one thing they want to see is America be back and engaged in the world. That takes a Secretary of State. Tony Blinken is an incredibly qualified individual to help us once again be back on the global stage, engaged, creating more allies, less enemies, creating more prosperity, less challenges.
Okay, so Senator Menendez was really speaking about U.S. leadership around the world. A lot of other nations have had to step up or have been disappointed by the way that President Trump has run the United States' leadership in the world. We've really taken a step back. We've made a lot of our allies to be not happy with us, and some of them have even started partnering up with some of the other nations that we don't always see friendly terms on, such as Russia and China. So it's an important step forward. They're seeing President-elect Biden's team as his first steps into renewing American leadership around the world. We've been a leader around the world since after World War II, and it's important for the stability of the world that we continue to run that role. However we choose to do it, it doesn't necessarily have to be with our military might. We have a pretty robust economy. We can use our diplomatic efforts. There's a lot of different tools in our toolbox, but our step away from world leadership has really been a detriment not only to the world, but also to the United States, because if we don't have the influence, it'll hurt our country in the long run, not just by having to be in more wars and whatnot, but also economically. People are reluctant to trade with you if they don't see you as trustworthy. So next up is Senator Klobuchar, and let's listen to her statement.
Security threats across the country, we've got across the world, we've got incredibly qualified nominees, which really are in keeping with the tone that the president-elect set from the minute the president would not concede this election. President-elect Biden took the stage and said, you know what? Give me a chance, people that voted for Donald Trump, and I'll give you a chance. He set that tone, and now you see that tone in these nominees.
So Senator Klobuchar is really focused on the tone setting that President-elect Biden has done with his nominees, not just the ones that we covered with the national security team, but also his economic advisors and all the other ones that he's nominated recently. That during his speech after he was declared the winner, he really wanted to help bring the country together, not just the people that voted for him, but also people that voted for President Trump. He wants them to give him a chance, just like he's going to give them a chance to bring the country together, really show that the country can be led and we can be successful with good leadership at the White House. So that's really what the focus has been on for the nominees, and it has shown great leadership and trying to enact his goal of bringing the country back together. Let's hear what Senator Schumer said. There apparently was a new COVID proposal that was put forward, so let's hear what he has to say about that.
Well, in response to Attorney General Bill Barr, I guess he's the next one to be fired, since he now too says there's no fraud. Trump seems to fire anyone in that regard. In the first, Speaker Pelosi and I sent yesterday a proposal to Leader McConnell in an effort to get things moving. I'm not going to get into the details. It was a private proposal to help us move the ball forward.
Okay, so that was a little bit of a nothing burger. He basically proposed a private proposal to Majority Leader McConnell. It's been very clear that the Majority Leader does does not want to work with Democrats on a proposal to get COVID relief, which is weird since Democrats control the House of Representatives, so he's going to need Democrats to pass anything. As Senator Schumer had mentioned, there's many Republican senators that don't want to do anything. So if he's going to have any influence on this, he's going to need Democratic senators as well. So the country desperately needs some sort of COVID relief. We need extension. At the very least, we need extension of the loans and whatnot that were started with. We need additional direct payments to taxpayers and many other things to help this country not fall into a deep recession while we wait for the vaccine to take effect and be able to reopen some of the areas. So hopefully this proposal is a step forward. He wouldn't mention what was in it because he says it was private to get the ball rolling. And as of yet, they have not heard back from the majority leader or from the White House. So but he said that just happened yesterday. So hopefully they get a response soon. Let's check out this last response from Senator Klobuchar. She was also referring to COVID relief.
I note about the earlier question about McConnell and whether he'll jam us and those things. Do remember there were Republicans in that group, right? And while it is not nearly what we had asked for, there were Republicans that stood up and said they wanted this amount of money. So I wouldn't assume that everyone's just going to go down the path with Mitch McConnell this time when you have states like in Maine that have had so many small businesses close. There was a Yelp study out recently that showed 800 small businesses are closing a day. We have restaurants that have tried to hang in and can't do it anymore. We've got a vaccine around the corner, light at the end of the tunnel, but if we don't put the funding into it to get the distribution going and the storage going, we're not going to be able to recover like we want to. We've got the head of the Federal Reserve under Donald Trump, his appointment, Jerome Powell, saying it would be a tragedy if we didn't get something done. So I wouldn't just assume that everyone's going to go down his path this time. And I think that this bipartisan negotiation, while of course just a start and is significant to show that some people are willing to cross over to get something done, which Senator Schumer has been calling for from the beginning.
So she's really focused in on that. This is a big deal. Like I was mentioning earlier, we need COVID relief. I want to point out that she did point out some specific senators in specific states. When politicians do that, they do that intentionally. They really want to try to grab some senators that might be on the fence. She specifically called out Maine, and the senator from Maine has always been one of those senators that can be reachable from time to time because Maine is a swing state in a way where it sometimes votes for Republicans, sometimes votes for Democrats. So they have a very big independent streak that runs through the state of Maine. And oftentimes the senators from Maine are reachable by either side pending what the proposals are. So that's why she was talking about when she mentioned Maine, that's why she mentioned Maine specifically. And there are other states that other senators would mention from time to time whenever you hear a politician that's already in power trying to get something passed and they mention a specific state or a specific representative or senator because they want to put pressure on that person because they live in an area that may be gettable towards the bill or the proposal that they have. And by publicly stating it, it puts a little bit more pressure on them to come around. So that when you're hearing those things, that's why you hear those things from politicians and speeches and press availabilities. So that's the end of the video. This one's a little bit shorter. Hopefully you learned some things about what our senators, the Democratic senators are thinking, what they mean by certain proposals, what's going on with the upcoming new Congress in January once they all get sworn in, sorry. They already were voted in, except for Georgia, which is still pending. And we can kind of see where they're heading in that direction when it comes to nominees and COVID relief. Hopefully you learned something. If you did, please like this video. If you didn't learn something, then dislike the video. Either way, put a comment comment below. Let me know what you think of this press conference, what you think of their statements on the nominees and American leadership in the world. And hopefully, next up, please subscribe to this channel so you can see the next video when it pops up. Until next time, I'll see you around the internet. Have a great day. Bye.